figures of this car are ridiculous. It has 619 horsepower and 756 Newton meters of torque. It can go from 0 to 100 in 4.1 seconds. Those are numbers you would be hard-pressed to find in any German manufacturer. And on top of all of this, the car is also four-wheel drive. And the price for all this power and performance in Icelandic kroners is 7,890,000. And then we can get a governmental grant because this is a green car. So the end price of this car is 6,990,000. What that is in euros or pounds, I have no idea, but I'm going to put the calculation here. And it's not only power and performance you get for that price, because you get heated seats in the front and the back. You get cooled or vented seats in the front, both for the driver and the passenger. You also get massage in the seats in the front for the driver and the passenger. The suspension of this car is decent. It's quite stiff, low down, reminds you of a German car. At the top it has a bit of body roll and reminds you more of a Range Rover or a Land Rover. But this is absolutely nothing that you should dare complain about when you consider how much this car costs. Even if the car were more expensive, this wouldn't be anything that you would complain about. Arguably, this car looks the best from this view, the 2/3 view from the back. It is two-tone, so it's black at the top, white at the bottom. Comes with these nice black wheel arches, blacked out tail lights, and this cool spoiler. If you pair that together with the 21-inch alloy wheels, you have a really cool looking car. This car comes on these beautiful 21-inch alloy wheels, and they look absolutely stunning when the car is moving. Then it also comes with red brake calipers, which makes it look more sporty, maybe a little bit more sporty than it deserves to be. But then on the other hand, the car is 619 horsepower, so maybe it needs red brake calipers. The front end of this car is okay. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. It has this nice red line here, which gives it character. It also has these beautiful front headlights, which look like something which Lexus could have been proud of designing. Granted, it does not look as menacing as its big brother, the honky EHS9. Because that car looks like it's gonna punish you. That looks like a gangster car. This looks more civilized. Automatic door handles. Soft closing doors. It's quite cool that the dashboard in this car is a little bit curvy. The steering wheel in this car, it's not round, but it's nice to hold. The material on the dashboard on this car is very nice. Here you will not find any glossy black fingerprint magnets, just this aluminium looking thing. Actually, every material in this car is very squishy and soft. Of course, when you go lower down in the cabin, you're gonna find some rough, nasty plastic. But to be honest, you're gonna find this rough, nasty plastic also if you're sitting in the German cars. Instead of waving your foot like an idiot under the car to get the tailgates open, you just press your foot here, there comes a little light on the ground, and voila, the boot opens automatically. This is actually a genius solution because, in my experience, when you're waving your foot like this, trying to make the back tailgate open, it rarely works. So you end up looking like a complete clown in a car park somewhere. There is plenty of space for luggage in the boot or the trunk or whatever you want to call a back end of a car, or 643 liters. Then up front in the frunk, there is space for a 6-year-old boy. The space in the back of this car is absolutely ridiculous. I haven't experienced anything like it in a car this size before. The space from my knees to the driver's seat is at least 30 centimeters, if not more. I can even cross my legs without it being remotely uncomfortable. Then it's the space from my head up to the panorama roof. It's probably well over 15 centimeters or so. The sound system in this car is absolutely amazing. It's got 19 speakers and an 8-inch subwoofer in the back boot. What makes it? I couldn't tell you because it's not marked. So it's debadged, and in my opinion, that makes it even cooler. The range of this car is 460 kilometers. The size of the battery pack is 85 kilowatt hours. Charging times, couldn't care less. All modern cars are so similar. But I can tell you that you can fast charge this car in a 250 kilowatt hour charging station. That's provided that you can find such a station, because they're pretty rare. They're like unicorns. In my opinion, the price of this car is ridiculous if you compare it to the competitors. I mean, you can start comparing this to the Germans. And that's a scary thought. And don't you start to think for a minute like, oh no, this is another obscure Chinese brand. Oh no, 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 no. Hongqi is the oldest automobile manufacturer of China. They've been building cars since 1959. This car also has a 5-year factory warranty with an 8-year warranty on the battery pack. The main competitors for this car is obviously the Tesla 3, XPeng G9, or the BYD Atto 3. How does this car stack up against those cars? Well, when it comes to Teslas, I don't really care because they don't interest me and therefore I haven't driven them. BYD Atto 3 is somewhat in the same ballpark as well. The XPeng G6 I have tried and that's a good car. So I can't really say buy the XPeng or buy the Hongqi. You kind of have to try both cars and make the decision for yourself. But what I do like about the Chinese cars is they come absolutely stacked with technology. They come stacked with tech and power. One of the most interesting things about the infotainment system in this car is that one of the apps is Napster. I did not know that Napster still exists. I really wonder if Lars Ulrich knows about this. Okay, let's order a location, a model. Let's shoot our own advertisement for the Hongqi EHS7. Let's put our spin on it.